Okay, so now we're on Unit 5. Lesson is about lists and dictionaries, and the activity is called A Day at the Supermarket. So basically, what this whole exercise is about is when you go to a grocery, so there we have first on the accounting side, we have the prices, then the stocks or inventory. And when we go there, so we have to compute the total bill of the grocery list that we have. Computing for the prices, how much are we going to buy, and also when we buy something, then that means the stock or the inventory count has to decrease. So we have around 13 sections for this activity or exercise, and I'm going to do a rundown in each as quick as I can. So first is we have to use a for loop to print out all the names, all of the elements in the list names. So if I'm going to reset the code, the original given is just the list names, and we have all of this: Adam, Alex, Mariah, Martine, and Columbus. And the code is I have to use a for loop, so for each item rather in the list names, we have to print item and submit. I just added print just to make sure that it's working, or so that it's visible on my end. The next is use a for loop to go through the Webster, the dictionary right here. Now dictionaries are enclosed in braces rather than brackets or parentheses. And we have to print out all of the definitions. So for every key in Webster, we have to print the key in the dictionary Webster. So key is the definition, which is this only a star of a popular children's cartoon show, and or goes on the floor or a small amount. So submit. Okay. Then the next is like the step 2 above, we have to loop through each item in the list called A. So like this, we have to loop through. So here we have for the number in list A, and then we're going to create an if statement where if the number is even, we have to print it out. Even numbers are numbers that are divisible by 2. So that means when you divide each number into 2, they have to, there is no remainder. So for each number in the list A, if that number is divisible by 2, we have to print that number. So here, print number. Okay. And the next is, now we have to write a function that will count how many times the string fizz appears in the list. So first we have to write a function called fizz underscore count right here, and it takes a list x as its input. Now, if we're going to create a variable count, we have to set it to 0. And for every item, or for each item that we loop through in list x, if that item is equal to fizz, again, don't forget the colon in the end, then count should increment. So count will be count plus 1. Again, it will be count plus 1 because the first or the initial count of 1, we set it to 0. So when we return, so the new value now of count will be, if for example, if the first item in the list x is fizz, then it will be now 0 plus 1, and then the new value of count now will be 1. If the next item is fizz again, So it will be now count is equals to 1 plus 1 and then 2. And then it will return the new value of count, and we're going to print that value. So print count. Next is string looping. So we just have to run the code to see what will happen. So for this one, the code is for the letter in the word Codecademy, you have to print all the letters. There is no condition in here, so it will just print the same, all the letters in the word Codecademy. The next is there's a variable called word with this text assigned or string assigned programming is fun. Now there's a condition here that we only have to print out the letter I. So for each letter in the variable word, if the letter is equal to I, we're going to print that letter. We're only just going to print the I's in this text. Programming is fun, so we should have two I's. So submit, and there you go. There's Codecademy, and there are the two I's. Next is we have to create a dictionary called prices. Again, dictionary is enclosed. The items in a, or the elements rather, in a dictionary are enclosed in braces instead of parentheses and brackets. So prices, where banana is 4, apple costs 2, orange is 1.5, and pear is 3. Okay, and the next is a stock dictionary, and we're going to have these values. So we have 6 bananas, no more apples, 32 oranges, and 15 pears. Next is now we have to keep track of the produce. So first we have to loop through each key in the prices dictionary. So for key in the prices, we have to print out the key along with the price and the stock. So we're going to combine the information for both price and stock for each key. So it has to be in this format. So the key, or the name of the fruit, and then the price, and then the stock. So we're doing it for key and prices. Don't forget the colon. And then print the placeholder, and then we're going to print the key. Next is print, then there's a string price, colon, then space, don't forget the space, and then the placeholder for the price of that key, or for the prices in the dictionary. Next is print, then the string stock, colon, space, the placeholder for stock, and submit. So if you can see, apple price is 2, stock is 0. Let's see at the top, orange price is 1.5, stock is 32. Okay, next is now we have to determine how much money are we going to make if we're going to sell everything. So we have to create a variable called total right here and reset it to 0. Now we have to loop through the prices dictionaries. So for key in the prices, we have to multiply the number in prices and the number in stock. So for example, for banana, we have to multiply the price 4 in banana by the number 6 in stock for banana. So prices, key times or multiplied by stock, and then key. And we're going to print that value to the console and add it to total. So again, total is currently at 0. So that's why we have here total plus the product of the prices and the stock, which will assign the new value for total and print the variable. So we are going to sell, we're going to have the total value of $117 if we're going to sell everything. Now we're doing the shopping. So first we're going to make a grocery list, and this name is called groceries, and our grocery list includes banana, orange, and apple. Okay, now we have to define a function called compute the bill. So define compute underscore bill that takes the argument food as an input. Now we have to create another variable called total again and set it to 0 right here. Now for each item on the food list, so for item in food, forget the colon, we have to add the price of that item to the total. So total, since we set it to 0, will now be total, which is at first 0, plus the price of the item, and return the total. And submit. Okay, now we're going to update that computation, the function compute bill, by taking into account the number of stocks if that food item is still in stock. So while you loop through each item in food, add the price. We're going to add the price of the item if the stock count is greater than 0. So again, compute bill total is equal to 0 for an item in food. Now going to add a condition that if the stock item is greater than 0, then we're going to execute this computation of total of adding the price item to the total. Now, if it is in stock, we have to subtract 1 from the item's stock count right here. Because if we're going to buy one, for example, if we're going to buy one banana, and if they have 6 stocks of banana in the grocery, if we get one, then they should decrease and they should only have 5 bananas left. So submit. And that's it. So next is unit number 6. The student becomes the teacher. So this is another set of exercises, and we're gonna do it on the next video.